It's my pleasure to be here with you. Is it visible?
Yeah, yes, sir, it is visible.
Yes. Well, basically, whenever we begin with interacting, the technology has brought us together online. So this is the first emerging technology, as you can definitely say.
Yes.
Well, what we are really looking for is some kind of new technologies that will make our job easier. Now, let us look at the various aspects of the technology, what we are going to study in this session. Well, there are many areas, right from robotics, chatbots, digital transactions, digital marketing. Well, these technologies had helped us during the pandemic. And you are aware of that none of us could leave the houses, but we had to continue working. We had to continue our academics, research, and definitely the people who are really going out, maybe banking in banking sector or industrial sector, well, they continued working. Now, all of us were facing major hurdle because we were trained to have live interaction, one-to-one interaction with all the customers. Now, when we talk about such kind of technology, now definitely this digital convergence of variety of technologies has brought us together to the new era. And there are more technologies which has really pushed some of the older technology or current technologies back on the back foot. And there are new technologies which are taken to be the leading role in this scenario. Now, let us focus it on what are these different areas in which we'll be talking about. Now, when we talk about, say, current technology and emerging technologies, well, all the technologies were dominated by three C's, the three C words. Now, can you tell me about what is the first C word? Obviously, which we are using, that is computers, right? So first C word is a computer. Second keyword, can you identify? Yes, the
Cloud
next
computing,
keyword.
cloud
Yeah,
computing, cloud computing.
yes, it is a cloud computing. Next, yes, third C.
Communication.
Yes, that's right. So communication, computers, and obviously the cloud computing has brought the world together at your fingertip. Now, you are aware of the power of providing communication to all the equipments. One of the branch that we'll be discussing is the IoT, one of the leading branch. Now, anything can be connected to any other thing in the network. So naturally, it requires some kind of smartness in the system. Embedded systems and IoTs are already the branches which are really taking a leading role to make every part little bit smarter. Now, whenever we talk about digital convergence of these three main C words, we need to ask three recurring questions, which we always face when we move from current technology to emerging technology. The first one, are you aligned with the rapid adoption rate of new digital technologies that are coming up? This is the first question that we have to understand. Now, when we talk about adaptation rate, I show you a slide wherein how much time we took to adapt to new technology. So these are the important aspects while dealing with new technologies, because otherwise the technology before we learn can become obsolete. So naturally we have to really talk about those aspects. Now, when I'm thinking about teaching any area or doing research in a specialized emerging technology, naturally, I'm looking at not only the teacher should be equipped well with the new technologies, but even their students will look 5 years ahead for the technologies those will be coming up. There is a Gartner hype cycle, definitely is an important tool to know or to understand the predictions in these emerging technologies. I'll talk about Gartner hype cycle at the end of the session. Now, the second important question, does your career have strong foundation for a SMAC? Now, we know that till before pandemic, that means before Corona, BC, not after Corona AC, we were really forcing the students not to use computers or mobile or smart devices in the class. But now we are pushing them to really use their mobiles. They use cloud computing, then data analytics, social media for benefit of their livelihood. So definitely our careers have strong foundation of these new trends. So what will happen maybe after Corona, maybe after 6 months or 1 year, how would you really respond to the situation? Are you going to go back to the old scenario? I'm sure that neither students nor teachers nor even the customers or even the society will like to go back to your traditional one. Definitely, there is no replacement in the method of understanding the topics and so on. One-to-one interaction is always better. But if you find out what are the pluses and minuses of the technology, I'm sure that the SMAC has more pluses as compared to the current or older technologies. So you have to even think about the post-digital wave. Your students will definitely go to the market. So are they digitally matured workforce? So we have to think about in next 2 to 3 years what they are going to do once they come out of this kind of emerging technologies or after Corona environment. So naturally, the products, what you will be using or even your students should be using, these will be customized products. The services, and these services must adapt to the constantly changing the reality. Nobody thought of, say, having this kind of fast changing scenario that is moving to the digital platform so quickly. So are we really ready to create the digitally matured workforce? That's the important keyword, right? Because we can adopt to any technology, but what about our students? They are even fast learners than us. So naturally, it is our responsibility to really bring them or open their eyes to the latest or changing technologies and definitely make them the global citizen of this digital workforce. So these are the three basic questions that those are usually asked when we move. There is a paradigm shift from older technology to new technology. So when we talk about making a student ready as an entrepreneur, I'm not calling them as job seekers, but make them self-sufficient such a way that they can start their own businesses. You're aware of there is always a shortage of government jobs and several other things. So we have to always look for the new avenues. So entrepreneur is one of the really driving force for your students to take the advantage of current trends. Now, what do we call as an emerging technology? Well, I'm sure that which is definitely different from current technology. Well, the technology what we are talking about is not yet fully developed or realized for many practical applications. So there is a lot of opportunity for all the students, teachers, all the researchers or academicians to think about, say, developing the practical applications which are still unrealized. Second, emerging technology also indicates, well, some of the processors are already launched. So for example, you take example of 5G technology. It's partially launched, it's not fully launched. There are not lot of vendors or players in the market who will really take the benefit of 5G technology. So you need to really change the lot of infrastructure if you want to move to the 5G. So that's why it is treated as one of the emerging technology. 4G is the current technology that we are using. Still, we are not taking the full advantage of 4G. So let us look at emerging technology as one of the technology where there are few processes which are still, there are few tasks which are still to be implemented in the technology. That's why it is taken under emerging technology. Well, all 100% development may not be possible in this year, but it's possible that this year there are multiple, say, dimensions those are provided to these technologies, and they are maturing more quickly than ever. So naturally, keeping at the trends, what is happening in this competitive environment, you have to learn this new emerging technology. So let us think about what are these technologies, where we'll be really benefiting from these technologies. Then what could be our role in adopting these emerging technologies, that we have to really go through this new change. So change is the only thing that is constant. 30, 40 years back, if you would have informed your friends that you'll be carrying out online shopping, you don't have to go outside. Well, you can purchase anything from Big Basket or maybe Amazon and so on. Several social media platforms are there. And Google has already launched autonomous vehicle. Tesla, they are having electrical vehicles. So they are having self-driving cars, no need of a driver. Even if you are not aware of driving skills, well, you can have a smart cars. But well, I'm calling this as an emerging technology because in Indian scenario, well, the car will not move at all on the Indian roads because there are many obstacles after every, say, feet. So naturally, it will not move even 2 kilometers. So self-driving cars, they are to be more environmental friendly to our environment, right? Not to the Western environment. So there are many things that we need to really think about. So these were the technologies, those are realized today. You must have seen Flipkart, Amazon, or Ola, Uber, Facebook, or even the food delivery apps. They are really taking the benefit, and you might have seen that there is almost more than 50% increase in the workforce of these online platforms, right? They do not have to invest in bigger offices like bigger giants like Infosys, TCS, or Wipro, or maybe the bigger companies. Well, they have to work on only the software. Now, all these new technologies, well, there is one important technology which is really known from last few years, like artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, IoT, and several other technologies. Now, these technologies are really treated to be the backbone of the emerging technologies today. So we have to understand the role of these new emerging technologies in today's scenario as well as in next 5 years to come. So my role is to really allow you to expose to these new emerging technologies. Now, how much is the technology adoption rate? I'll show you the slide. Now, this is for every 50 million users. When mobile phones were launched, the 50 million users were reached in 12 years. So it took 12 years to mature the technology. People have adopted the mobile technology within 12 years. Then internet took 7 years, and took hardly 4 years. WeChat or Telegram, it hardly took 1 year, not less than 1 year. Then several games like Pokemon Go, or maybe there are several online games that are available. It hardly took a few days to adopt the rate. So it depends on how people are getting familiar to these technologies and how user-friendly the technologies are. And definitely, the new emerging technologies will not take so many years for adoption. So let us look at this as opportunity to learn about this new technology. Now, when 2020 started, nobody knew how 2020 would end when it started. Initially, it was normal, but it's no longer normal. Corona pandemic forced the businesses to adopt digital transformation. Even in place of going to the colleges and carrying out regular blackboard teaching, or maybe use IT tools or PowerPoint presentations directly in the colleges or institutes, that is already gone. Now we have to adopt the transformation. I really doubt that if the pandemic, coronavirus would not have been there, we would have taken at least 4 to 5 years to adopt this online digital transformation. But pandemic has forced us to learn this new technology within a span of few days or few months before the new academic year could begin, right? From June, July 2020, we could really adopt such kind of technology. Forget about only academics. All the businesses, those were moved online in past 6 months. Now, as compared to 10 years. So you might have seen that there are a lot of happenings. There's a lot of things, those will change even in 2021. Already 50%, more than 50% this academic year is past. Now, what are the things that will definitely change? The question is whether our mainstream technologies such as artificial intelligence, data analytics, AI will remain a driving force in emerging scenario. So I'm sure, yes. Or will there be any new forms of technology? Those will be dominating this year. So that we have to really focus on. Now, what are the trends that we should be looking at 2020? The first, well, is nothing normal. Everything is abnormal. We have to adopt this situation. Yeah, we have to get familiar with this changing scenario. People are thinking about now, second wave is over, third wave is likely to come in the first week of October and so on. So we do not know. Nobody can predict. So it's not a normal situation. So this is the first trend, right? Second, well, we are using so many apps, online platforms, and so on. So cloud computing has become a king of all these emerging technologies. The channel firms, most of the service providers, they have started responding to the customers' changes. Now you must have seen that even your neighboring shopkeeper, now he has really taken Paytm or Google Pay and several other platforms rather than interacting or making hard cash transactions and so on. They have even the fruit vendor on the corner Vegetable vendors, they have adopted this new technology within a span of 6 months to 8 months, right? So the software giants, they are responding to the customer needs. And their channel dynamics have become more balanced. Initially, well, they were thinking about if you make few transactions, you'll have to pay so much amount. Now the transaction is free of cost. Now they are more focusing on how many times you are making the transaction. So the dynamics have already changed. There is a joint venture, as you can always say, the driving force is the customer, and definitely the service providers will definitely adopt those changes, and there's a good handshake between these channel service providers and the customer. Now, you might have seen that artificial intelligence, data analytics, and so on, data science, they are finding their place inside this business, new business solutions, what industries are offering. One thing that has prominently seen in the digital transactions that there is a cyber security threats, those are coming up. So there are no longer trust on customer or client or third party softwares. So what they are talking about in cyber security, zero trust. So let us not depend totally on the third party or the second party, but there is zero trust, and there will be all security measures those are taken into consideration for online platforms. Managed service providers, they have already built their own cyber security expertise so that they can make the financial transactions very easily. Technology industries, they have to prepare for new regulations. IT industry decided that more than 75% their workforce will work from home. Now, this is a new scenario that is introduced, where it was really a challenging task for the industries to provide the computers and so on initially. But now, from anywhere, you can do any job. That's what tech industry is looking at. Business conversations are looking for skilled professionals. Now, these new emerging technologies are bringing new directions, and they are looking for expertise in these areas. So while talking about this, at least 10 new emerging areas, I will definitely tell you where the job opportunities are possible and what kind of job opportunities are possible in this current scenario. Now, every company need to set the public goals for diversity. Now, you might have seen that there are certain areas, still we are facing a lot of challenges. Certain students, those who attend the classes, may not attend it regularly because the internet connectivity may not be good in their area. In rural area, they might not have even the infrastructure like smartphones where they can access your sessions, right? So basically, the scenario must be changed such a way that now people are coming up that every village they have an internet connectivity at Gram Panchayat level. Now, naturally, they are setting up a computer or a big screens wherein all the students they can, by keeping social distancing, can come there and attend the classes in a distributed manner. So this kind of diversity needs to be addressed in the Indian scenario. Even if you are thinking globally, but think locally as well whenever we try to implement these technologies. So let us look at the top 10 technology trends. And maybe we can spend 5 minutes, not more than 5 minutes on each technology trend so that we can cover quickly or briefly these technologies. Well, my point, basically, my role will be just introducing you these new technology trends, and we won't be going in details in any one of these technologies because these are each technology trend will take itself say separate sessions. Anyway, so this is a good opportunity for you to know the trends looking at the future. Artificial intelligence and machine learning was there for last 5 years, and that will still continue to be the leading technology trend. Second, you might have seen that specifically we are strong in automobile industry in India. So we have a lot of industrial giants like Tata's, then Mahindra, you have Volkswagen, Hyundai. All these cars are manufactured in India. So naturally, they're using robots. But when we talk about automation, that does not mean that only robots, humanoids, or certain machines are used for automation. But robots are also used in process automation. I'm talking about a process rather than the technology that is to be implemented. So that's why the second trend that is in the technology list is the robotic process automation. It's not robotics. I'm saying RPA. We'll talk about that as well. Well, we are now stop talking about cloud computing. Cloud computing is a major role in this decade or in this last couple of years. But people are focusing more on edge computing today as compared to cloud computing. So we need to talk about what is edge computing, quantum computing. Well, most of the things, those will be coming up slowly. There are different gadgets, those are already launched, but it will take some time. Virtual reality, augmented reality, extended reality, these are different trends that are coming up. Another aspect, it's not related with bitcoins and so on, but blockchain in financial market. Blockchain is playing an important role in financial transactions. Obviously, being related with IT and electronics, while I have a convergence of communication, computers, embedded systems, and electronics hardware software together in IoT. It's an umbrella which brings all the branches together. So IoT is one of the branch wherein you can make anything which becomes internet ready. That means your smartphones are already internet ready. You can think about making your any product internet ready. You can access it. Well, that reminds me one story. When I was in the US for certain academic research, when I was staying at a particular place, well, the refrigerator that was used was little bit smarter. Smarter? Well, presently, if there's any shortage in the refrigerator, well, eggs and other things, well, what we do, we have to take a note of that, okay, milk is not there, eggs is not there, vegetables I need to add and so on. So we have to manually decide. But those refrigerators were a little bit smarter. These refrigerators will identify the positions where the eggs are kept and so on. There are particular positions where we keep the items. Now, if the items are not there, the machine vision system, or what you can say the machine learning system that is adopted there, it will determine that, okay, there is a shortage of eggs and so on. So before you go for a breakfast, well, eggs will be delivered to your house. Well, this machine is really talking to some other machine. Now, when you talk about chatbots and so on, Amazon is using it, or there are several other vendors that are using it. Your order is placed, it will be delivered to your house directly. So all these branches will play an important role. Well, another important technology, which is from last year we are hearing about, there are few vendors like Jio and so on. They have already taken 5G technology for implementation in India. There are a few other vendors like Airtel and so on. They're slowly coming up. So basically, 5G is one of the leading technology that we need to know more about. Obviously, cybersecurity is not new, but because of the current trends, now there is zero trust on any agency or any third party. So that's why we have to look at cybersecurity in a different angle, because now we'll be operating from home and we'll be getting everything ordered or delivered to your home. So naturally, there should be a good security in all the transactions that you are using. And last part is smart vehicles. Now we are talking about autonomous vehicles. The car will automatically, suppose if you think about today's Ola or Uber right, service providers, they are providing you the service as per your request. Now you are using the same software. Now already in US, Google and Tesla and there are several other vendors, they have really brought autonomous vehicles. Now you just have to book your ride. Well, there will be no driver, but the car will come to your house and it will take you to the destination place without driver. Driverless operations. Well, there are a lot of things that you need to really go into before it could be launched in our country. But well, there are a lot of laws and regulations that you need to follow before you introduce smart vehicles on the road. So we are not only talking about only vehicles, but there are drones which will be delivering. Amazon has already started the delivery through drones to at various remote places. So this is possible with new trains that are coming. Any questions related to top 10 technologies? Do you feel any other technology that could be added? How many of these technologies you are familiar with? 10%, 20%? Well, you might have heard about, or in near future, if as an academic, definitely different universities, their academics, board of studies, academic council should take a note that now the computer, IT and electronics industries are so rapidly changing in last 2 years. Now the curricula should be updated immediately, because the students who would be passing out will be in the market in next 2 to 3 years. So whatever we are teaching, there has to be some component which will be future ready. So make your student not only global ready, but future ready as well. Right? Okay. So we will talk about each technology in brief. My point of view in understanding technology is first, what is this technology? I will not go into several other aspects of the technology, why this technology is used and so on. I'm basically focusing only on what is this new technology and where it could be used. So application area and the technology. These are the only 2 points I'll be focusing with in every technology. If you start with artificial intelligence, we know that artificial intelligence is used today in almost all applications like image processing. You might have seen, if you are using mobiles, Apple mobile, there's a Siri speech recognition software that's available. Then Alexa, Google has brought their own smart device where they have built-in speech recognition softwares, and you just have to give voice command. Okay, play this song, play this music, or maybe order this thing or that thing. So these are all really interesting applications of artificial intelligence. Okay. Well, other than artificial intelligence, AI will be useful for. There are 4 to 5 different areas where we have to use, because AI is a little bit older, but now focuses more on analyzing the interaction. Now, how frequently you are listening to certain singer. So definitely, next time, whenever you just mention Alexa, play this song of so and so, so automatically the library of those songs will be made available to you, right? Easily. So analyze the interaction, machine-human interaction. make the decision accordingly. Determine underlying connections and insights. That means if you want to get connected to maybe the ride sharing app like Uber, Ola, you can order. Or if you want to, let's say, play some music, you can. Or if you want to control your home appliances, well, Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant smart homes can be controlled by voice commands. Well, all these requires internal connections, how this will be connected. Well, the latest use of AI was in demand for services like hospitals because there were shortage of beds. And could you predict how much time it will take to reach the maximum number of patients? So that was very difficult. But AI helped us based on the first wave. Now it's easy nowadays using AI. People have already predicted, IITs have already predicted that the third wave could be at the beginning of say next month or at the end of this month. So basically such kind of predictions are based on certain models, and definitely these models are required with the help of AI. AI can help us in making the better decision for research utilization. Well, shortage of oxygen cylinders and so on. So you can now start predicting that if the number of patients could increase at least twice or thrice. Well, these are all extrapolations that we have to think about because that is not in our hand. We cannot predict. So you have to think about if it is normal like second wave, this will be the number. If it is twice or thrice, well, you have to prepare for the worst case scenario as well. We are facing problem in the second wave, right? So that should not happen even in the next wave. So basically, for resource utilization, AI can play an important role. Now, basically, the pattern recognition, the customer behavior is an important role in analyzing the data. So how the human being or how the customer can be changing its behavior. So you have to analyze the behavior. So behavioral changes can be easily analyzed using AI. So I may not talk about where AI is used now. AI is really the invisible hand everywhere in our lifestyle. You think about an application in this current scenario, you'll always find AI is used. You might have seen AI initially while booking the Ola or Uber cars for your ride. Well, if there's a lot of rush, well, the rates will go higher for the same destination. If there's a less demand, well, the rates will be lower as compared to this. So you cannot have a fixed rate. Just like even for airlines booking, initially there are low rates and the rates will increase as the booking is becoming really full. So naturally, you can think about making a booking from Mumbai to Delhi. You can pay 7,000 today for predicting after 1 month you are traveling. And if you make a booking for tomorrow, you'll find that the rates could go to 15,000, 20,000 for one seat. So that's basically what airline industry is using AI, predicting the behavior, predicting the demand and supply. So if I have a large number of goods, well, I'll keep rate lower. I can give a discounts and so on. But if there is shortage, well, they can earn more by increasing the rates. That's the model what they are using it. So AI is also capable of predicting the maintenance, and as I mentioned, it's capable of predicting the risk as well. So every industry is looking at the other industry as a customer, not necessarily human being, but even machines and their computers or even the clouds, they are looking at it as a customer. So customer experience is most important here. Along with artificial intelligence, we are even talking about machine learning. Now, how is it different from your artificial intelligence? Well, it's a subset. Now, since we are dealing with the machines, well, naturally, the human behavior would be different from machine learning. But you can make machines to behave like a human being, right? Now we are entering into so autopilot mode that we have started behaving like a machine, and we have forgot to have a human element in the interaction. We have hundreds of contacts in our contact list, but how many of them are physically connected? Whenever you call them, they are ready to come to your help. Well, very rare. So that's the problem, right? So let us not become like a machine. We are trying to make machine to become like a human. Well, we'll be talking about that. So machine learning is, you are not asking the machine to become smarter, but you are trying to make them focusing on, we are not focusing on ability to think, but you are making the machine to learn from the past data. Because this is what is happening. Now, whenever you would like to train, so definitely there are different algorithms and models that are available. So we are using automatically training the machines using machine learning. All right. Well, now these are the application areas for AI and machine learning. To name a field: medical, finance, image processing, gaming applications, speed recognition, in education, traffic predictions, well, pattern recognition, data analytics, and so on. There are a lot many areas wherein we should be looking at. So machine learning learns the model based on past history. Now, if I know that what are the things that I'm purchasing frequently from Amazon or Flipkart and so on, well, Amazon will show the similar new products on the front screen before you could really go to the actual card. So naturally, there are few things the software can learn, machine or program or machine can learn from your past history. So this is what is called as machine learning, right? So we are training machine like they could have their own brain. How do we learn? Same technique. We learn from our childhood. We have started learning. How do you start walking? Slowly, step by step. The same thing is done by the machines as well, right? So we are, initially there was a clear-cut boundary between machine and a human being. Now that is becoming so thin that machine and human can interact with each other. So what kind of jobs those are available? AI research scientist, AI engineer, machine learning engineer, and AI architect. So these are the kind of jobs that are most likely to come in near future. Well, have you heard about a robot called what is called as Sophia? You heard about Sophia?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll just show
Yes,
you
sir.
one small video about interaction with Sophia. Is it visible?
Yes,
The
sir,
video
it
is
is
not
visible.
visible.
So the presentation is visible. Is it any video?
Video is not visible.
Video is not visible, sir.
Okay,
No, sir.
sorry.
देखता है पे रोबोट कोई भाई हो
Yes,
देखते हैं
is it visible?
Yes, sir. Now it's visible, sir.
Yeah, it will take some time.
Visible, sir.
I know that it's playing video.
I think it's having lag.
Sir, we can't hear the audio actually.
Okay. Okay. I'll just give you the commentary in 2 minutes. I'll just stop. Now PowerPoint is visible.
No, sir, you have to share
No,
it
sir.
again.
Okay. One second. Yeah, is it visible now?
Sir, it is in process. It is showing that you are starting to share content.
Okay, so it seems that multiple functions are not. So WebEx is taking time to respond as it is showing.
सर एकदा स्टॉप शेअरिंग करून घ्या आणि मग परत शेअर करा सर.
It is saying close the program.
Okay,
Cisco WebEx
complete.
service is not responding.
Okay.
Wait for the program to respond.
अरे शेयरिंग जो डॉक्यूमेंट है वो व्यू ही नहीं हो रहा.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Please wait. Please wait.
Just wait. Should I close the program?
सर एक बार मीटिंग लीव करके फिर से ज्वाइन करिए सर.
Okay.
सर उसको एक बार फिर से रीशेयर कीजिए सर, हो जाएगा सर.
Yeah, it's visible now.
Sir, just a minute.
Make me presenter.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, now it is visible, sir.
All right. So let us now, basically this Sophia is totally based on artificial intelligence, and she could really answer any question, whatever you ask. So you will find a lot of videos and communication on YouTube. Saudi Arabia and Malaysia, I suppose, these two countries, they have given already the citizenship to the robot. The first time that is happening in history. Anyway, so let us now move to the next slide. As we were discussing about robotic process automation, well, it is as good as having some kind of intelligent applications. It's not directly robot, but the software which would be controlling the robot applications. So it really utilizes some smart apps for virtual assistants or chatbots you are already aware of. Well, if you have any queries and so on, most of the even Indian government websites, they have given chatbots. If you have any questions, please write it. The chatbot will reply. So basically, it is based on the kind of questions usually the most of the customers they ask, and accordingly they built on their library. So such kind of softwares are really playing an important role. So we are focusing more on intelligent apps, and these are totally based on machine learning and artificial intelligence. You might have seen in Microsoft Team or any other this online lectures, say softwares provided by WebEx or Microsoft or Google and so on. These apps are so smart that they can schedule a meeting if there is any mail from some other industry that okay, there is a meeting at so and so time, so automatically in your calendar this meeting will go from the mail to the calendar, and that will prioritize, that will highlight that okay, this is a meeting on so and so date. So this is some kind of organizer, and these organizers are basically used by most of the IT professionals. So it has become, even it is becoming now a part of our daily lives. You might have seen that if you have any Google platform or WebEx or maybe any the calendar in your Google Calendar or Samsung Calendar, you'll find that your mail could be connected to it, and it will tell you that suppose if you want to see your program, the list of tasks to be completed, the meeting schedules and so on can be very easily seen on your mobile, your gadget. Your mobile, laptop, desktop, they are integrated platforms, so they are available. That means whatever information that you have it on the desktop is available on mobile very easily through integrated technology. So that's what this RPA is providing, a bridge kind of a thing between machine and the human being. Now, most of the jobs those are available or will be available in this RPA is similar to your AI or machine learning, because it is basically automating the jobs, right? So in place of asking your personal assistant that what are the meetings today, those are written in the diary. Now your mobile can prompt you, give you voice command that okay, at 7 o'clock every 7 a.m. please tell me today's calendar or my scheduled meetings and so on. So there's a voice assistant that can play your calendar early in the morning when you get up, right? So basically you are automating the jobs, and that is done through AI and other things, right? Now you might have seen even while replying emails, there are readily available short, say, phrases those are available or words those are available that you can just to click and then you can pick it up, okay, and send a mail quickly at a single click. That's all, right? So it's basically what people are repeatedly doing it. Those tasks are automated. So that's the job of RPA. Now, what kind of jobs are available? Now, you have just like AI developer, you have a RPA developer, analyst, architect. These are some of the 3 important jobs that are available for this. Any queries up to AI, machine learning, and RPA? Now we are slightly moving to the new technology, edge computing. We always think about comparing edge computing with the cloud computing. We are taking the benefit of cloud computers already. There is a AWS services by Amazon, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud platforms. These are the easily available platforms for the users. Now you can use any applications based on these clouds. Now we won't be no longer treating cloud computing as an emerging technology. They are already well matured technologies. And we need to really think about what could be the extension of that. Well, it looks similar. So edge technology will be providing the benefit. Now, whenever you like to access any data from your mobile, say from Amazon server, so naturally it needs to get connected to the Amazon server cloud every time. Now, so amount of transactions where the server is located and so on, that is not important. But the latency plays an important role. It is realized that the cloud computing has certain disadvantages or shortcomings in such scenario. Now to remove that, edge computing is preferred where it can bypass the latency caused by cloud computing. Now, in place of getting the data from any cloud, it provides a local data center for the processing. Local data center could be nearby in your city or in your country. Not necessarily you should always get connected to the Amazon server. It could be in Singapore or maybe in US or UK or anywhere, the nearest server. So basically, you can have the local data center access with the help of edge computing. So that's the difference between cloud and edge. So that's why we call it as on the edge. It's available near to you, right? When you talk about real-time data or time-sensitive information, like say if you want to get your password and so on, which or OTP, which is valid only for 3 minutes and so on. Now, getting the information from remote locations would be, and if there's any connectivity problem, will take some time. So best way is to use edge computing in such scenario. So it's an extension of cloud computing, which is available near to the edge to the every application. So that's about the edge computing. Now, edge computing has become more dominant, or the pandemic has really forced cloud computing to become a supportive role. And they have opted for certain programs which will support the edge computing. So the
Sir, how these edges are decided? Is
well,
there
it
any
depends.
procedure present?
Yeah. So basically, it depends upon once again on the background there is an AI response, right? AI will analyze the corresponding behavior of the user, how frequently the user is using these apps and so on, and those frequent apps will be providing the data on the local edges. So that is the behavioral based. So once
Means it
again,
is user dependent.
yes, it is user dependent. That's why it is artificial intelligence. It's not a fixed user, fixed technology based. It is based on the behavior pattern. Okay. Now this will even change when the 5G becomes a mainstream technology even in India, right? So that's what we are looking at now with 4G. You might have seen that downloading say 5 or 10 movies from some server is taking few minutes, but with 5G, downloading hundreds of movies will take hardly fraction of seconds. So basically that's the main bottleneck. Communication is the bottleneck everywhere. So you have to minimize the latency. So the motto behind the edge computing is reducing the latency. Okay. So AI is really the driving force behind making edge computing more popular. That's why I have
Excuse me,
numbered.
sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can you elaborate the meaning of latency in detail?
Latency is maybe let's think about. Say it is something related with in the simplest analogy. Suppose if I want to get some information from my neighborhood, right? I'll prefer to walk, or I can take some other media to reach that destination, or nowadays I can get it online. So where the latency is smaller, getting the things online rather than you personally going to the place, right? So it is in a shorter, simpler term, it is kind of a time required to complete the task, right? So latency is always related with the time. Okay, we need faster
Excuse
and
me, sir.
faster.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
While calculating the latency, actually, in this scenario, there is no use of sick time, no?
there is no use of sorry.
Sick time,
Yeah,
because
definitely that is there. Sick time would depend upon how your communication devices are responding, right?
yeah,
It is always asynchronous. It's not a synchronous communication. When you talk about 3G, 4G, or even 5G, all of them they prefer asynchronous communication. One, suppose the server would be responding at a very high speed, but your device is mobile or computer is not responding to that speed. So there is always asynchronous communication. So sync
yeah,
times are different from the different machines. That's why AI is playing an important role.
yes. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I
ahead.
think this edge computing is playing a very crucial role in streaming videos.
Yes, definitely. It may not be required for making the railway reservation and so on, because it doesn't matter if the data is available after few seconds, right? So data that is given by the railway server, if it is available after fraction of second, that does not matter. But if you are talking about say dynamic bookings of airlines, well, that will change the rate. Or even for Ola Uber, if there is a lot of demand from the customers, well, the rates will change rapidly, right? So edge computing is playing an important role. There's another thing that I have introduced because I need to talk about IoT as well. uh, so edge computing will increase as the use of IoT devices increases, because now we are just focusing only on mobile and communication devices. But when it comes to responding your car, when you talk about autonomous vehicle, the braking system could be automatic. It will sense the vehicle that there is an obstacle within 10 feet and start applying the brakes automatically. So when you send this information, the information goes to the server and then it responds. If it is in an offline mode, not in real time mode, then what will happen? The car will hit first rather than applying the brakes. So your automatic vehicles requires edge computing rather than cloud computing, because it is personalized for that car or that user or that instance. So as the instance changes, the behavior will change. Edge computing will become more and more popular, and there are a lot of things to be implemented in such scenario. Okay. Well, the jobs those are offered under edge computing or even quantum computing, they are just similar to the cloud computing, because they are the subsets or the sets which are performing better as compared to original cloud. So that's why when we talk about edge computing or quantum computing, definitely you will have similar job opportunities. Now, presently people are not talking about, but they are just talking about cloud reliability engineers or infrastructure development or architect and so on. So all the development are done under the umbrella of cloud. Even in even in your quantum computing. Just take an example that one company is demanding some item from the neighborhood. Now, otherwise, what will happen if the data goes to the cloud, it will go to some server located in US or UK, and then it will find out the neighboring vendor. In case of that, it can find out through edge computing. It can determine that there is a supplier nearby. So e-commerce is benefiting because of edge computing. As you can see, the item can be delivered very easily to your doorstep, right? And on a mobile, we are showing that there is a need to have highest security because there's a zero trust on the third party. Okay, so that's the most important part. All right. So as you can see, a lady is trying to connect it to the cloud, but the information is going through wireless to the cloud, and that could be made available by this cloud, the local vendor, and the corresponding drone can deliver the object to a particular person very easily. So this could be localized, if driven by cloud. What is this term quantum? Now, when we talk about quantum, that reminds me the basic physics principle. When we talk about wave theory and particle theory, when we talk about wave theory means whatever the rule that you make applied to everybody. That's a classical science. But when you talk about quantum science tells you that every particle will behave differently. Even though it's a part of a wave, but every particle can have different behavior. So that's why people are thinking about, say, quantum computing, because each server in a cloud or edge computing can behave differently. And to speed up the processing, quantum computing is doing the job at very high speed. Now, quantum computing in last year was used for preventing the spread of coronavirus and develop the potential vaccine. So all the biological R&D laboratories, they had used quantum computing. I know that making the quantum computing available for third world countries like India and others is very difficult. It is dominantly available in only 3-4 countries. That's why you must have seen that a lot of research is going on in US, China, or Japan, or in some other select countries in Europe, right? Quantum computers are definitely play an important role. That does not mean only the hardware, right? AI in quantum computing has revolutionized even the quantum computing. So it was faster. Now, you must have heard about the vaccine usually takes almost 3 to 5 years to develop for any virus. But this had developed within a span of 4 to 6 months. And actually, it is only because of the computing models those were provided. And these models were predicted at very high speed through quantum computing. Now, another field where the quantum computing is finding applications, now presently people have just started thinking about, can these be used in banking sector, finance, and other credit risk management, and so on? Because I remember that one of the person who started his hotel 2 years back invested a lot of money, almost more than 1 crore, and in the last 2 years is not earning anything. So he's a bankrupt now today. Now risk analysis, if it would have been predicted, he would have sold the area. He kept the place as it is, right? So basically risk management and so on can be done quickly using the quantum computing. As I mentioned that quantum computing is a superior computer technology as compared to any computer that's available today. Even people talk about supercomputer. The supercomputers will be definitely replaced by these quantum computers. So all parallel processing are supported by AI, and that is not based on wave technology, it's a quantum technology. So that's why this is playing a dominant role. And as I mentioned,
Hello.
it is going to play an important role in banking and finance.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, what is how to differentiate sir superposition and quantum entanglement? These are new terms which is to be not including in the computer, I think.
Yes. Now, when we talk about, if you know the superposition theorem in electrical engineering or electronics engineering, you might have studied that even though there is a source, and if you want to study the effect of that source, you can study it separately. Same thing is for the second source, third source in the network, and then superimpose their, assuming that all the resources those are available in the network, and study their impact in a totality. So superposition theorem really plays an important role in quantum computing, because in quantum computing, each computer will play a separate role. Each will have different backing, different processing speed, and different needs. So naturally, this, if it becomes a part of supercomputer, that quantum computer will behave differently than the second quantum computer. So naturally, if you want really cloud computing of quantum computing, this is a cascaded effect. So naturally, that could play a dominant role where there is a importance of superimposition of the technologies, right?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Presently, only selected companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Honeywell specifically in automation, they are hiring the quantum computing services. It will take many months for Indian companies to take the benefit of quantum computing. Well, there are few they have already started working on. Well, this is a kind of a very complex architecture. You might have seen there are multiple processes that are connected in a big room to carry out this parallel processing. Well, requires a lot of heat sinks because they are distributing a lot of power, so a lot of cooling is required, and so on. Well, I need to speed up now. I have only 10 minutes, so I'll move quickly. I think gaming industry is revolutionized because of virtual reality and augmented reality. What you require are these virtual reality devices, VR devices. Now, VR devices and augmented reality devices can be supplemented with extended reality. Now, initially, these technologies were dedicated to only particular research laboratories. Now, the streaming of video, audio, and definitely images has made really the cloud computers or quantum computers to play an important role in virtual reality. You might have seen definitely VR games and so on. Let us not enter into this area, but this is another branch which is benefiting from this. Now, if you think about virtual reality, it is entering into our real life. So we call it as a augmented reality or extended reality. Now, basically, I don't know whether you have seen the virtual reality devices. Now, right now you are using e-commerce, Amazon and Flipkart and so on, and you are just looking at the product in a 2D format. But if I want to visit a particular shop for purchasing jewelry or grocery shop or any virtual store, well, I can walk into the store, look at the feel of the product, I can get the information about that product. This is a kind of background what people are really thinking about. So it is entering in our zone. Presently, this is already used by US for training the Army and Coastal Guard ship captains for US Navy and Army. Well, they have created a virtual ship, and basically you must have seen in the gaming industry, the virtual reality is really used, right? So I do not want to focus it on virtual reality. What a person can do, he can walk around, move, he can play the pogo and different other games. Well, looking at the industry jobs, well, surprisingly, there is a more theoretical job that is also available as a skill set, optics, because you need to talk about virtual reality and how the images will be realized in the virtual world. So you need to think about, that means you can holographically create a person in front of you, virtual image. Well, Apple has already demonstrated that if you want to talk to a person, you can have a virtual meeting. The person will you virtually and you can interact with them as good as he's sitting in front of you. That's called as a virtual reality based meeting. Okay, so these are all coming up, different product IoT based or communication products. They are coming up with such kind of devices. Okay, one of our student, he was working on one of the simple product 3 years back. Well, when you talk about a mobile, nowadays most of the mobiles, they are having a facility that you can project the keyboard on any surface and you can start typing it, because the keypad is very small on the mobile. But now mobiles can do a lot of job like your computer. So you can project the keyboard on any surface and start keying in the information. That kind of app was developed in Pune. So one of the computer science student, he had that project and was working on that project along with the industry. So basically, some of these small products could be very easily developed. So you require basic programming skills. You need to have a forward-thinking mindset that how virtual reality, how the human being, his face could look like. I'm not talking about the AI used in Sophia, but in a holographic images, you can have this kind of a thing. Let's move on to the blockchain. Blockchain is not related to bit currency, that what people are talking about today, cryptocurrency. But they are looking at blockchain, which provides more security for financial transactions, current financial transactions. It could be used for any, whether it's a cryptocurrency or normal transactions. So basically, what blockchain is, it's a very simple term. The term chain indicates whatever data that you have presently, you are going on adding this on a timeline. Once the data is added 10 seconds back, you cannot modify. So you are forming the chain of the data, which cannot be modified in time very easily. So we are having a blockchain. So not being able to change the previous block of the data, that makes this blockchain very much secure. So that's where do we require such kind of a thing? So naturally, these are required for financial transactions, right? You require, say, a person who is good at data analytics in data science can really use the blockchain solutions in implementing or working on the cryptocurrency or on financial area or any other aspects that are required. Now, what kind of background that is required to become expert in blockchain? Whatever the normal fundamentals that we teach in our curriculum, like basics of programming languages, object-oriented programming, rational databases of databases, web app developments, networking, and so on. That is sufficient to enter into the blockchain industry. As I mentioned, blockchain industry has potential applications in variety of sectors. So whatever the current sectors are, those will be supplemented by blockchain in a few years to come. So there's a lot of scope in getting into this different industry. These are all big giants, cloud computing, Amazon, Microsoft. Well, they have started using it already, right? Now, blockchain has already used by financial market in place of using just like a cloud computing, use a decentralized technology for decentralized finances. Rather than having only centralized, keeping, suppose if you are say customer of says SBI, right, or any one of the bank or HDFC Bank or so on, and you are a member of, let's say, nearby bank. But if you go to any other city, definitely your home account can be easily traced, and you can get access to your financial transactions from there. So that becomes a decentralized, it does not become a centralized one. So blockchain can help you in this case. IoT is no longer a new technology, but there are certain promises under IoT, because we always know that many things are now built using Wi-Fi connectivity. Now you are aware of your simple fans, tube lights, camera can be connected by Wi-Fi to your router, and that will basically you are connecting it to the internet. And you can have a home security apps that are available on your mobile, and you can use them. So these are all IoT devices. So you can monitor anything on your mobile using IoT devices. So what you require, anything that you like to make Wi-Fi ready, provide the Wi-Fi connectivity. That means you require wireless modem built it into it, and wireless modem for connectivity require embedded system. So these are all technologies, those are built in under one roof, right? Many devices, many cars. You must have seen even in the, while using the Google Maps, if you are driving a vehicle and traveling to a new place, and you are traveling on new road. If there's a traffic jam on the other road, the Google Map is updated and it gives you information on your device. So that is your navigation device, or it could be a mobile, which is used for navigation. So these are all IoT applications. So there's a traffic jam at 10 meters or 100 meters at 1 kilometer, take another road. All this information is updated in real time. So we are already using IoT, taking the advantage of IoTs, several health-related Fitbits and so on. These gadgets are available connected to your mobile through Bluetooth or Wi-Fi and so on. These are all IoT products, right? Now these IoTs, as they have given the forecast in future technologies, by 2030, there will be more than 50 million IoT devices in the world. And how much money that is spent by the end of 2022 will be 1.1 trillion US dollars. So there is a lot of business in IoT in 1 year. New 5G technology will give more boost to the IoT, because right now they are using 4G or 3G technology for communication. But when it comes to 5G, 5G require localized routers, and those could be available within 100 meters. So connectivity, networking will definitely enhance. There's more redundancy that will come in 5G. If one of the tower has a problem, there is a redundant tower in the same area that's available, which could really take over. So there are a lot of things that are possible with IoT. Right, I'll not go into details. As you can see, global IoT, those are increasing. There were hardly 19, if you look at it, around 200 or 250 IoTs today. It will go to 1102 million IoTs by 2026. This is from Fortune Business Insight.com. In terms of IoT, if I use virtual AI as well as virtual reality, I can really think about Internet of behaviors rather than only thinking about only the dumb products. Now you haven't connected the human being to the network. So AI is really working in that direction. IoT is talking about your things, but your mobile gadget that you are using is determining your behavior, how you are working with the internet. Suppose if you are looking at the Instagram or any other Google sites, you see that whatever the frequently accessed sites will come initially. So there is an AI platform that's already available in the search engine, which is showing your most visited sites first, right? That happens in even Facebook and happens with any other platform, right? So IOB is a new branch which will be dominating IoT today. So IOB is basically depend upon the huge data resources that will be required, because today you have access, say these so many Facebook friends, tomorrow you have access some other friends, once again you have access the first few. So that data is kept ready for determining your behavior through AI, right? So that will be available in your product, that is called as IOB. I don't want to go in details of it. So let's move quickly to 5G. As 5G is talking about, 5G, we know that up to 4G, I'll just highlight one important aspect. The first, the distance between the tower was very large in case of 4G. That means it could be within few kilometers, 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, and so on. But in 5G, it is assumed that the tower distance will zoom in to hundreds of meters, even in 50 meters. So that is the first advantage, but you have to invest a lot on infrastructure. But the benefit what you get is the speed 1,000 times better than 4G, because it is not working at whatever the speed that you're working at, megahertz or megabits or gigabits, it is going to terabits per second. So downloading, say, hundreds of movies is a job of few seconds, right? So that's the advantage of 5G. Let's not discuss, because 5G we have discussed a lot. Okay. Now, initially 5G will be costly initially, but on a large scale, when it is implemented, it will become low cost. You have multi-Gbps data rate. If you are just downloading some file from your mail account, you may not require gigabit or terabyte speed. So you can have a low speed. So it is a adaptable speed that you can get it in 5G, right? Then there are several other aspects. I will not go into details of that. Another aspect, what it is looking for is ultra low energy. That means the energy that is required for grabbing the information is lower, because now your mobile should communicate to a tower which is located a few kilometers away from this place. But if you have a 5G mobile, it will be hardly communicating within 100 meters. So naturally, the energy requirement, transmission and reception will be lower, and it is less harmful to your body as well. That these are certain advantages of 5G. I'll not go in details right now. So 5G is prominently used to enhance mobile broadband connectivity, not single band. There are certain mission critical services like autonomous vehicles, robotics, or healthcare can remotely carry out the operations and so on. And definitely massive IoT is required for smart city applications, wearable electronics, smart homes, and so on. So 5G will definitely benefit, because every home, even if you talk about today, will have at least 8 to 10 devices that are already connected. But if I connect my refrigerator, then my washing machine, my fan, tube light, I can control it from anywhere in the world, right? That's the benefit that I could get in 5G. No point in talking. 9th and 10th, they are relatively lower. Cybersecurity, we know the areas, cybersecurity is much matured, but the advantage of definitely AI will force you to take a new aspect, because blockchain, AI will change the job skills that are required even for every security analyst, right? So definitely there is a need to change the scenario what we are currently using the cybersecurity, because all these 5G based multiple billions of devices needs to be connected to the internet. So there is a lot of security that must be available. And the last technology is a smart vehicle. A smart vehicle is driven by augmented reality. You must have seen, even in normal cars, Well, there are cameras, those are situated. If you want to park your vehicle, if you want to take a reverse, it shows you the image like, okay, you can take back, there is a 10 feet distance, you can take 5 feet distance from there, you can turn left or right. That information that you can get it on the mirror or on the front dashboard. So navigation systems will be well equipped in smart vehicle. You will get complete information about routes. If there are autonomous or self-driving vehicles, well, no driver is required. You can really talk about where you like to go. Then there will be, as you are aware of, the better prospects of smart vehicles is only because of rising prices of petrol and diesel. As you know that today it is 100, it is predicted by vehicle industry that it could cross 200 in next 2-3 years, right? So whether you will remain there, because it is fossil fuel and that will definitely reduce day by day, and it's reducing it. And we are heavily dependent on Gulf. Now there are electrical vehicles that are coming up like Tesla, GM, BMW, even Tata, they have launched their electrical vehicles. Naturally, electrical vehicle is a driving force. The vehicles will not be totally depend upon all the commercial, not necessarily only electrical vehicles, but you can use energy harvesting techniques. That means we are fortunate to have a lot of sunlight, so I can use sunlight for charging my batteries. No need to charge it by using electric energy. So you can have smart vehicles. If you are parking it anywhere or if you are driving it, you can put solar roof on the top of your vehicle and it will be charging simultaneously. So there are many things that are available in smart vehicle. I think I should stop here. If you have any questions, you can definitely ask me. Smart vehicles, it will be communicating by voice, right? Turn left. You don't have to tell the driver to turn left. Use your voice command and it will be taken to a particular place. Take me to the corresponding central shopping store. So it will take you to the central shopping store. Take this route, that will be done automatically, right? Well, that is what is expected. Thank you. Any
Thank you so
questions?
much, sir. Thank you. Friends, if you have any question, please ask.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
I think,
Based on
can you
what I
repeat
have-
again? Because you are not audible.
Yeah. Based on what I from all these applications, basically all these technologies are capable of generating enormous amount of data. So
Yes,
what I feel is we need highly sophisticated data science technologies also to process this data in real time,
correct.
which will
That is right.
encourage for machine itself in taking optimum decisions. So what is your take on this?
Well, when we talk about real-time data, the first thing is that the bottleneck is your communication system. Communication must be faster in real time. Real time in the sense within a fraction of microseconds. I'm not talking about seconds. Fraction of microseconds, the decision must be taken by the server, should be inform you automatically. Because when you are driving the vehicle, your exact position is going to the satellite, and satellite is responding that okay, you have to take this track, turn left, turn right, and so on. Now, once the left turn is over, there's no point in getting information. Now you have to turn left, right? So basically what you require is mission critical data. So all the smart vehicle requires mission critical data. Real-time data is mission critical.
Sir, excuse me, sir. What is the basic difference between 4G and 5G technology, sir?
Yeah. Can you repeat again?
4G and 5G technologies.
You want difference?
Yes, yes. Right now we are using 4G technologies. Suppose we are going to upgrade for 5G technologies. What is the real effect we are going to face in it?
Yeah. The first thing you need to change your handset. That is the first thing, right?
Mm.
Because it should be 5G ready. Now, except I think Reliance and several other vendors, they have their own 5G ready handsets that are available, Apple and other things. But you must have that handset. Then your localized area should have that infrastructure to support 5G, right? So these are the two important things that are required to start using 5G.
Okay, sir.
Sir, there is one question in the chat box.
Yeah.
How these recent technologies can be used in higher education?
All right. Now, at the beginning of 2020, as you are aware of, we never predicted that we will have a online refresher course, right? So it's just a beginning. So everything will become, say, customer driven, what you require. And the location, then it becomes ubiquitous kind of a computing, pervasive computing. Anywhere, anytime, anywhere you go, you'll find that the technology should be available at your doorstep. And this is the era where we have taken a quantum jump. Now we have taken at least, we have removed the gap of 5 to 10 years because of pandemic. Everybody has started using the technology to the academics, right? Now suppose I'm teaching one particular course, let's say IoT, but I know that there is a professor, Sundarajan in IIT, he's teaching better than me. He is a better professor in the field of IoT. He's well known. He's invited by Apple or several other companies. So why not to listen to him? Now these facilities are available. You cannot invite him to your college, but definitely online you can visit, invite him. He can definitely join, right? So online education is the new keyword in our academic session. There was one interesting question in the last session that I had with some other HRDC, where they were asking that now UGC and other government agencies are saying that your 40% courses should be online, right? Even if you become in a normal teaching scenario, now you have to make 40% courses online. So we have NPTEL, then MOOCs and several other platforms, Coursera and so on. So what will happen to our workload? That's a question that people might ask. So it is interesting that whatever that is available on the internet is the information. How this information will be put it into the use. Even if any expert is taking the lecture or a session, you will be always, suppose if you are asking a student to take a MOOCs course or NPTEL course, every session, a teacher will be assigned to that. So that workload will remain the same for the course. That is the plan, what we are thinking at the university level. So you have to justify, even if the students are opting this course, even if you are not familiar with it, you have to get familiar with the technology and ask them that, okay, let us get familiar with and become their mentor rather than teacher, right? Become a participant in that session and then have a discussion. So you will be always some kind of a mentor for the session. So workload is not hampered. Every course, we should assign a mentor. So if there are 10 courses offered by different students, then there will be 10 different mentors those could be assigned. So rather the workload will increase rather than decrease. So I know that 30 years back, all the banks were protesting. They were on strike saying that don't bring the computers in our banking sector. Now you have seen that what is happening. Initially, there could be a resistance from academicians that, okay, don't make everything online, otherwise we'll become redundant. No, will not become redundant if we become more oriented towards what emerging technology is coming. So let us pass on this emerging trend, don't become an observer, become a participant in the emerging technology, right?
Yes, sir.
That should be my advice.
Okay. So thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful session. On behalf of HRDC Nagpur, I extend my thanks to you, sir, for giving valuable guidance to the student participants. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Friends, for next session, our next resource person has joined, but you take break of 15 minutes. Please don't leave the meeting. मीटिंग को लीव मत करिए. Stay connected. आप refreshment break लीजिए 15 मिनट का, and then we will start with our another session, which will be delivered by Mr. G.P. Konde sir. Got it?
Okay, madam.
Yes. Meeting को leave मत करिए.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, okay.
Yes.